Hey y'all, what y'all doing? I'm so ready for this to be over with. Y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know. I'm tired of talking about the same people. All their drama. Putting my name in the same sentence with them. Putting their energy in the same whatever channel and whatever y'all call yourself doing. That we ain't finna go on a new year still talking about this. I don't even want to talk about it. I just want to know where my money is, where my keys at, where everything that they put in Germany's Thomas name at, and where everything that belongs to Germany's. Other than that, we ain't got nothing to talk about. It ain't no drama. It ain't no heat. It ain't no hatred. It ain't no dislike. It ain't no competition. It ain't no competing. I tried to get on live this morning so I could share my testimony of the Lord and let everybody know what's really been going on. So, anyways, for the last 12 years, I've been attacked consecutively by the devil and the children of lies. And what I mean by that, I've had serpents, in the windows, following me around where I go, had them visit me in different dimensions. Okay, so I see. Let me see how many of y'all have seen in the window. I have seen two in the window. I seen one in the window on Bruner Pond. Then I seen one on Cedar Spring in a different dimension. Then I seen one again in Rolling Hills in 2017, in between 2017 and 18. Then I had one be in a car with me, and like 2-3 years ago, flying. That I knew that was the devil himself, eyes red. And then I seen another one here this year, in a dream state, in a different dementia. And then I almost got killed because it wanted a siphoning spirit was sent to me. In my sleep at a hotel earlier this year, and I ended up getting online and I was showing out and fussing about it. It had been many a times that I had testified of the glory of the Lord in my life and what the Lord had been doing in my life, and not to scare anybody, but those who on the walk, then they know what I'm talking about. Some people like to say people are crazy, they're delusional, they haven't seen it. I'd have mentioned, I'd have testified of when the demons tried to snatch me out my body and take me to the dungeon, and I called on the Lord, and the Lord had them to loose me. So we really shouldn't be no comparison to Germany's. It shouldn't be no going on with all this hatred and strife, because once somebody testified the Lord and that the Lord is real in their life, Satan has no authority. When you seek the Lord and you believe in the Lord and you go find the Lord at the sought and not the Lord, and the Lord reveal Himself to you, and it's like it's animosity about me going to pray to the Lord. It shouldn't be no animosity because I chose to pray. It shouldn't be no animosity because your ancestors skip their children and the inheritance go down to their grandchildren. It shouldn't have been no animosity about that. Ain't no telling who all going through the same stuff as I'm going through. And if you're going through it, you're pretty tough, because the heathen don't play. But all that stuff is against mankind. The devil ain't out here fighting with no serpent. The devil ain't out here fighting with scorpions. The devil ain't sending fiery darts out there to the ones that's supposed to be in the wilderness being jubilant. And the only reason why you see why a serpent is as the symbol of the devil is because that's his craftiness. That's his craftiness. But a lot of people ain't having some stuff. Some people ain't having stuff to be done to them, and they ain't dealing with it because some of them are in the dark themselves, in the blind. Some of them that went astray and got lost, and then some of them left. The good left and just voluntarily been evil. I really don't have too much to say. I'm not gonna make no long video. I've been trying to get on here all morning, so I know the enemy was busy. And then when I did get on there, I started snapping because some stuff that I see on here, I probably shouldn't even look at it, scroll past it, or none of that, or even give it no mind. Because some of that is something from the devil, some of that is tactics, some of that's just to deter me. I don't have to look at nobody videos, so I just really try to support you, but I'm just gonna stop from doing that because I don't want nobody siphoning my energy, channeling it into me, trying to read nothing. If you're doing medium work, I don't need to consult with you. If you're doing tarot, I don't need to watch your page. And I'm sorry, I've been trying to do that, try to support. And then I see that everybody that's doing it online, that it came out of darkness, that people ain't coming to their house and they ain't hiding what they're doing. They actually came out and being honest, and I think that's a good thing. But you don't have to do it. And people who the Lord give discernment don't have to read cards, they don't have to pull cards. People that have God in their presence, they don't have to do all that. So don't and when I did, if I could have, when I did need it and the help and all that, I didn't have no phone. My Facebook was hacked. When I was in isolation, going through the tactics and all the fiery darts, majority of them, I didn't have phone. I didn't have no minutes. I couldn't call nobody. I was in desolate situation. The only person who was around to help me is the Lord. And then some people knew what was going on then, and they didn't say nothing then. And not everything that bypassed and happened, some people want to speak up, and I think that's kind of it's kind of hard for me to accept because I could have been dead already. So I really ain't got that too much to say to the people, who knew about this stuff and let it go on, and, didn't, consult with me and my well-beings to check if I was okay, how I was doing. And every chance that they got, they tried to kill me. They tried to set me up. They tried to extort me. And they tried to blemish my image. They had people thinking that they can be me and shapeshift. When the Lord gives some, I don't want to say, like anybody in my family, they can get out my energy. I sever all cords with them. I cut all ties with them. The ones who got demonic and satanic stuff going on in their life, they can go on about their business, because I will not be indulging and participating and talking to anybody that's an antichrist and an enemy of the Lord. So right now I'm taking my hair down because y'all know the feminine, we like to keep ourselves up. We like to take care of ourselves. And this is the same person that I was before I had to go through all that. Hold on, y'all. Hold on really quick. I'm gonna put this here. Now do it. It looked like she was ever ugly. Do it look like she had to compete with anybody? Do it look like she had to go get a booty lift or any titties lift? You know what I'm saying? So don't ever get it twisted and act like I'm a different person. Like I wasn't always top of the notch. Like I wasn't always confidence. Like I didn't always have hair. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have self-esteem or confidence. So anyways, the boyfriend tactics, it started in like 2013, well 2011. So it was like 2012 or 13. In between that time, I seen the biggest uh uh demonic satanic spirit that was sent to me, and that was sent to me in a different dimension. It tried to take me out of my sleep. Okay, that was the first one. Okay, the second one, I was at a house. This was like a few. Okay, the first one I seen, I was at the house, and it was like how they show on the movie on the Carpenter Son, like you see a physical snake. And so I was in one part of the house, and in the part of the house that I was sitting on this side, it's a window, and on this side it's a window too. Where this is the kitchen, but it got two entries on it. So on this side, that's what a snake was. So I'm sitting on the couch right here on this side, and it's just looking at me, following me around, because it goes off body heat. It's colorblind, so it can only see heat off your body. But anyways, that's something that the Lord taught me by actually observing animals in nature and being in touch with nature, analyzing, because the Lord don't have you to go out there and pick up a snake and torture a snake and beat a snake and go in the wilderness and mess with a snake. And you know, you don't have to, the Lord says you don't have to enchant with a snake for a snake to bite you. So nobody should be out there playing with it. You can't tame it. It's supposed to be in the wilderness being jubilant. But anyways, to make the long story short, so we're gonna continue on, no distraction, just because I'm on live. I don't care about your fiery darts. Whatever you send to me, I'm sending it back to you. Whatever your idea is, I'm gonna destroy it. Whatever vice you use, I'm gonna make sure it be scattered. Whatever altar you got, I'm gonna make sure the Lord destroy it. And if you got a worldly God, we're gonna send it back to you, the Lord, and not in the Holy Spirit, and we're gonna make sure it stick with you to the day of battle with the Lord. So the it was watching me on this side of the on the window, so I go to the other side of the kitchen because it was 2 inches to the kitchen, and it followed me over there, and it was trying to get in through the house or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I do know they do a lot of crafty stuff, leaving their body and try to, you know, shape shift, and they just need a host, you know what I'm saying? So this the first time I'd experienced something like this, and I only had my first child, and she was probably gonna be 3 years old. She was in a room laying down. It was two guys in the house with me and my sister, but I don't remember my sister ever coming out the room. I don't never remember her coming out the room. I don't know where my mom or where my auntie was or whatever, but we lived out in the country or whatever, but it was a guy there. Okay, so they end up going out there and fighting with it. It was vicious or whatever. It, you know, the person who, you know, when it tamed it or handled it and defended my cause was one of my child's father. But we tried to conceive a child back then, and it wouldn't work out. We tried for 3 years, but we had a lot of tactics, a lot of family drama, whatever. We ended up splitting up. Long story short, that don't matter. We talking about the enemy and the craftiness, and my testimony of testifying of the glory of Jesus from the helper in my life through Jesus. After this occasion, it was a couple of months later, I ended up moving out. So this happened in like 2011. This happened in 2011, in between 2013. 2011 in between 2012. Well, 2012 I ended up moving out. When I moved out, and in between 12, 13, and somewhere in between 14, I had another visit between the serpent, and this time it came to me, and that was the biggest one that I ever seen, you know what I'm saying? And it tried to take me out of my sleep. And I got up, you know, quickly, but it seemed like it was a wet dream, like I was pissing on myself or something. So I ended up freaking out or whatever. And the person that was beside me was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I'm like, it's here," because it was so real, you know what I'm saying? And at this point, I was around people I really wasn't praying. They was gambling. They was, you know what I'm saying, incesting. You know, they had a lot. There was a lot of stuff going on. Um, well, they were separated, but you know, they had their own little family stuff going on, family little secrets. And I don't know, that ain't none of my business. But you know, it was the people that I was around. Then I lived a couple of few places, houses down from some of my people or whatever. But I stayed out there first, and they ended up getting in contact with my landlord, and they moved in there. But I told them about it. So it came to me again. That was the second time. Okay, the third time was in between 2016 and in between 2019. I'll get ready to pull up at the house. Well, it was 2017 and in between 2018. I get the dates right for you. Put them, you know what I'm saying. But I'm just trying to give you some insight at what I've been going through in these last 12 years. Well, it's not even that, because I had my first predator at 5 years old, preying on me, praying to groom me. A lot of older men see that your beauty, see your radiance, or you know, got working with the spirit of lust, and they see you, and you know what I'm saying, they'd already got over on some of the people in your family by bribing them with money, thinking that just because they weak or in a low position that they have to take money, and not knowing that they're selling out to the enemy and stuff. So it was predators around some of my family members, some of my relatives, a lot of people in the neighborhood, and some of them was working with them people and them people and all kind of stuff come from the same father lies. And so we ain't talking about people, we talking about the spirit, because we don't supposed to tear down people, we don't supposed to fight against people. But okay, so I pulled up and I'm pregnant. I want to say I was pregnant with my second son. So yeah, this was in between 2016 and 17. So okay, from 11 to 16, I had three demons to come to me. So from 11 all the way to 17, I had three of them to come to me. So at this point, this is 2017. I'm pregnant with my son. It's in the wintertime. It's about fall time. Everything should be put up. Everything should be hibernating. Everybody should be somewhere hidden. So I pulled up at the apartment. It's another one at the window trying to get in. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find his way in there, trying to get in. So by the time I could get to the house, by the time I could, call somebody and tell somebody, hey, because I got my daughter in the car with me. She about 4 or 5 at this point. And then I'm pregnant with my son, my first son. And so I'm like, hey, this is a man job. This is for a man to get out, not knowing that some of them would be as pious as they is, so I end up, getting somebody and then telling the person that I was acquainted with, like he cared. And they end up acting like they were searching through stuff and everything to find it or whatever, but they never did find it or whatever. So I kept on going, but I didn't never pay attention to why is it looking at me like this? Why is it following me? Why is it monitoring me? And why every time I turn around, this right here is popping up in my life, and who's sending it? Okay, so I got it ended up that occasion happened, and then so in let me see, but after that happened, it was like 2021, 2022, somewhere in that time. I started looking for light, and then I started looking for the serpents, and it was a spiritual attack starting to come, to me, because I had to went astray from, listening to myself and started hanging out with people that was of the world, not knowing what the material the things of the world and what the cares of the world was. I only knew how to pray. I only knew right from wrong. I was still naive. I didn't know nothing about what they expect. Every at this point I'm still expecting horns and hoof feet. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't really had to fight that kind of battle. I might deal with a little darkness and a darkness and a little monitor spirit being around familiar, but as long as I was growing up, I didn't really have the depression, no oppression and stuff wasn't that bad. So, anyways, they searched, and after that, it passed by. I go on, and then a few years later, probably like 2, 3 years later, well, I end up splitting up with maybe a year or two later. I end up splitting up with the person that I was staying up with the apartment. But while I start going out with that person, I started feeling insecure. That was the enemy around me right there. So it had been since 2011 up until now. I'd had to deal with the children of lies. I'd had to deal with it my whole life, but I'm saying it had been tactics, hands on, spiritually, physically, mentally, and nonstop, 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 nonstop. Now, as a kid, I had to deal with predators. I had to deal with folks trying to groom you. I had to deal with those who had the lust and incest and spirits on them. I was hanging around people that was doing, stuff that I was unaware of, because like I said, until I went in the fire and came out the fire, I didn't know nothing about Tyria. I didn't know nothing about witchcraft. I didn't know nothing about no warlock. I didn't know nothing about no sorcery. I didn't know nothing about no debauchery. I didn't know none of that, because the Lord didn't let me take that route. And I was a young kid when my grandma, I asked her for a book. It was before my grandma died and passed. I probably was like 8 or 9 years old. But it's since a little kid, she had me to go to church with her every week, every Wednesday and every Sunday. Um, so I don't know why I'm on here explaining it, but I just got to testify and tell the Lord's glory in my life. So after I testify of the testimonies of the Lord, and the enemy know that the enemy can't do nothing over it. The enemy don't have no control. Now sometimes he gonna use people that are weak to succumb to him, and then they might act like they want to attack you. But when he used them, they go down where he destined to go. So you know what I'm saying? If that's how they feel about it, then know that you being used by the enemy. You don't got a person like you. You need to check yourself and check down into yourself, because a person that don't bother you, a person that don't do nothing to you, but the Lord said you don't have to do no enchantment for it to bite you. So you don't have to go play with it for it to bite you or bother it. But I repent and I rebuke. So I tried to get on here and tell y'all when I was telling others, and then let me see. So then after that happened, I end up, leaving and moving out. And then after I move out, I actually met another demon in the flesh, But this time when I met this demon in the flesh, he was more wicked than anybody that I seen. But when I first met him, he had this little evil little lad to him. And I was going, everybody that I came in contact with, I tried to treat them by, the flesh, because this was before I even had to, been trained into battle. This is before I knew the weapons to war with. This is before I knew how crafty evil can be. At this point, I really only too much knew good from bad. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I only know how to do good and how to stay away from bad. So some of the people when I was growing up, we hung around so long, but when I started increasing my gifts of encouragement and being able to dictate between good and bad, I start walking away, because I know that what they was doing, it was gonna come, wrath within their consequences. And if you doing good and you trying to be a role model and you trying to encourage them and they ain't paying attention and they ain't listening, you just wasting your time. And you ain't gonna keep on going along with them down the path of destruction for you to wreck yourself. So every time I walked away, it was the Lord telling me, hey, this ain't something that you're going to be able to grab and keep. It's time for you to walk away. If they're changing, get themselves together, maybe you'll catch up with them later. But at that time, it's time to remove you. That's a distraction to you. You pray, you obedient, they ain't like you. So as I kept trying to hold on, bad stuff just kept on happening. I was losing friends, boyfriends, trading and changing on me. Every time I bring them around somebody, it's like somebody in the little friend group or somebody in the family, they got the little lust for eyes and dealing with all that. So anyways, 2021, 22, we come up. I'm left from where I was with this person that I stayed with from 16 all the way to like 21. So we did, in the same house 5 years. Well, over them 5 years, I started losing myself. I could see that person's teeth. I could see the evilness on them, but I didn't know that how evil and wicked they was. I just knew that they were sneaky. Something just kept telling me it's something sneaky about them. It's something that they hiding, but I just couldn't pinpoint it, because at this point, I'm only 21, 23 years old. I haven't yet experienced life. I haven't went out there and done that. Who would think that you think people try you like that when they all looking at you as low class, looking at you as uneducated? You know that you love, and you know that you can tell when people hurt and when they sad. You can discern with people feelings, and you got the gift of encouragement, you got the gift of lifting up and listening, but you don't know everything about greater. You don't know nothing about how you supposed to let the spirit lead you. All you know is to pray to the Lord and be grateful and say your grace and to say thank you, and to continue on in church, and and learn to learn the commandments of God. So when they started attacking me, I was already that person, but I just not seeing it, because I'm walking around looking the love that I'm receiving from the Lord. I'm trying to go and bestow it on others and give it to them. But the more that I'm being nice to them, the more that they resent me, the more that they being mean, the more that I'm getting stalked by women, the more that my business getting exposed, the more that I'm dating this person, I feel insecure. I'm starting to be fatigued. I done lost weight, gained weight, doing all this, trying to, be in this person's life and be with this person. So after, so many times that this person shut me down, hurting me, rejecting me, trying to humiliate me, trying to put on for other folks, trying to tarnish my image, taking pictures and of me when I ain't to my best self or my fullest potential, disrespecting me, only using me for a place to stay, for us to stay together. And I said what I said, and I meant what I said, and I don't think nobody want me to disclose what really happened. So we're gonna keep it moving because we did. It wasn't he wasn't paying all my bills, and when I met him, he was in the projects. So don't. I'm living out my car, and he was in another chick house in the projects, and so anyways, we're gonna move forward with that. But I knew that that person was like kind of antisocial. That person just only socialized with their friends, and you know what I'm saying. And then one day, this person friend came to me and was like, "What's up?" You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if they had to set it up if they tried, because after that they end up being real acquaintance, hanging out with each other, renting each other cars and stuff that he was doing for his friends, he wasn't even doing for me. But that's another story. It seemed like he came in my life on an assignment for the devil to belittle me, to bring me down. He was one of the worst boyfriends that I ever had. I went and reconnect with him, wouldn't want to be with him, but yeah, he was on an assignment. And brilliance can come off as charming. They, flattery, wanna, give you gifts. Well, all that was an illusion. All that was a facade. So that I know that was from the father lie. So I ended up breaking up with him, and he really didn't retaliate. He liked he wanted to kill, steal, and destroy, but he wanted to hide what he was doing in the darkness. So to everybody else, he seemed appealing, and like we had it all together, like he was just a smart one, and he had all this going on. But really, he was crafty and a master manipulator, and he had alternative motives. And so I ended up moving out because another demon devil came along, but he was, brilliance and charming, and I didn't know nothing about brilliance and charming because at this point I'm still naive. I don't know what a demon look like in the flesh. I don't know what a counterfeit is and nothing like this. So when I'm getting with these people, I see I'm going by the flesh. I'm trying to be considerate of them. I'm trying to give them a chance. And all while as soon as I start dating them, I'm losing myself. But I'm not catching on to that because I'm still naive. I didn't know nothing about siphoning spirits, siphoning somebody energy. You know what I'm saying? I had not got there. All I know was the Psalms prayer. All I know how to start reading in my Bible. And you know what I'm saying? I still couldn't interpret and fathom and understand. Well, I didn't even have understanding at that point. I was still hot headed, you know what I'm saying? Still, still learning. But they was fully developed and conniving, fully developed and mischievous, fully developed and conniving, fully developed and they craftiness and attaching themselves to people through demons and siphoning spirits and going out of town and getting work done on people, whatever it is what they was doing, and always trying to make me feel bad and sad about myself. So in between 21 and now, you know what I'm saying? It's been a lot of tense oppression. It's been like, every day, every day. So I end up moving out and start going out with this other dude. And the one that I walked in a dungeon that that was dug for me by a whole family, and then including a wife, and it probably had something to do with the ex that I had to previously left. All of them in cahoot together, you know what I'm saying? From in 13, my family and my ex was together, chilling together. Every time I go somewhere, he pop up, so I had to deal with him from 11 all the way to 14. Then at the 14, here go 2016, and then I ran into a new enemy, and then this enemy I'm with him from 15. I met him in 15, so I left a dude in 14 that you know what I'm saying. He was arrogant, he was selfish, and he was still immature. He had not grown up. He was probably like 5 years older than me, but he had not grown up. and it was strife with me and between his family, so I left him. But while I was with him, I was getting attacked already. I was sitting at the house. They wanted to bully me. They didn't like me because it was a lot of strife through envy, and I always had to defend myself. And that person caused me to lose some things. That person ended up stealing a couple of bands from me. A lot of stuff. People just don't know what I had to deal with, the embrace and endure. And I probably wouldn't be where I'm at going through this stuff or being without, had I not wasted so much time on them, wasted so much of my love on them, wasted so much, just investing in them. This one man, I let him find my child. He ain't had nothing for my child. He probably out there going and creating this lifestyle for him, his daughter, and all kind of stuff. Like the devil used these people to come in my life to wreak havoc. And when they came to wreak havoc, they came with the motives to kill, steal, and destroy. So in 21 through 2021 to now, 21, well, y'all don't know, till 20, we end up at the end of 2019, we moved out the apartment, moved in the house. So when we moved in the house, it would seem to get worse. Like the spirit of confusion, the tactics was getting worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to feel even more insecure. This person belittling me. That I can see that this person is starting to get violent with me, like he womanizing. And every time they attack me to make me feel low mentally in my mental state, they want to call the police and act like I'm the one wigging out and showing out. But really, they was hiding their craftiness in the dark. So I end up breaking up with this person. And I guess maybe they wanted to seek vengeance. So this person took a couple of things from me. This person borrowed $800 from me since we weren't together. I paid the light bill the whole year while I wasn't living with them. I moved out in 20. We ain't have to end the lease to 2021. So from 20, when I moved out to 2021, I'm paying a light bill for him to be laid up with it or whoever he had in there. But when I moved out, I moved out. I started kicking in with somebody. Well, when I started kicking in with that person, all the way from that May to that September, me and this person didn't stay together. Well, as soon as I start chilling with this person, then I start looking for the monitoring spirit. I'm looking for the crafty spirit, but I'm fighting air. So everybody's saying she crazy, she crazy, she crazy, because they don't see and hear the things that I hear. And so, but the ones that was attacking me, they know what I was looking for. So everybody thought it was game. Everybody was saying, "Oh, don't get on them drugs. You get the trick or not. It's the drugs," but not knowing that I'm seeing every one of them that got the little crafty spirit and lying tongue and that attached to them. So while I'm looking high and low, looking for the light, thinking somebody watching me, that's the Lord trying to get me to pass this test, to know the light from the darkness. And so I would feel watched. I was feeling watched so heavy, like, it got to the point where I was so freaking paranoid, but I didn't know that was projection or frustration. And so they put me in a battle basically that I didn't even know, what I was fighting against, who I was fighting against, who was attached to none of that. It's like they had to throw a veil over me. I had to start to not know who I am. Like, my confidence left, my bold and courageous left. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting around. I got the spirit of rage attacking me. I'm showing out on others. I'm getting into a fight. I'm bad company. And now while they sitting there showing their fangs looking crazy, using me. So all this stuff, it could have been prevented, but it can't be prevented because evil gonna be evil in this day. He on a mission to go attack those that's righteous, those that's innocent, those who are needy and poor, and they feel like they weak and they're succumb to him. See, the righteous one, they know the weight on the shepherd, but the ones that's innocent, they don't know nothing about what they fight. And so them the ones that they like to be predator to, those that are innocent, they like to prey on them. Because they feel that they weak, they having a young mind, a kid mind, being naive. You're not aware of the stuff that what goes on in the world. You're not of the world, so you know all the stuff that you get, is materialistic, and some of it's priorities and necessities. But anything that you don't have to have, that it's materialistic. So you're not of the world. You don't know what of the world people do. You had never had to go pay no practitioner, and do no stuff like that. So I told y'all I did in between 21 and 23. I ended up going to somebody who's supposed to have been a priest. And at this point, I had that felt far away from the Lord, because while I was at them people's house, the Lord just wasn't responding to me. He wasn't saying nothing. And at this point, I thought I'd have felt from grace that I don't know what I need to do, but not knowing that they trying to bind me up with their spirit and have my freedom and run around and be brilliant and charming with my light and act like they polite, but they really filthy and lazy. Putting on a facade and an illusion. And not knowing that they the children of lies and they were sent by the father of lies. And then only reason why all of them was coming, because it was time for me to get my inheritance. It was time for me to, grow into the person that the Lord want me to be in. So, and before I could get to the point where I'm at, it's been a lot of demons. It's been a lot of devils. It's been a lot of people on assignment from the devil that the Lord had used closest to you, relatives, family, those loved ones, and they shape shift and they go from people to people. And you know what I'm saying? It's a trickster spirit. If you in the house with anybody evil, your house is divided. And so you're gonna always have to fight with the enemy. Unless you bind them up in their house, you're gonna have to fight with them. So anyways, I'm looking high and low or whatever, looking for it, and the devil just sitting right there, just having a field day, just laughing like, this is so funny. You don't even know what you're looking for. You don't even know what's going on. Yeah, she gonna be easy target, but over time the Lord just started helping, giving me the answers that I need. When I started praying and fighting back, they would always be mad, or you know what I'm saying? It just seemed like every time I seen them, they had a different way. Or every time they project on me to get high, they would want me to, they would try to kill, steal, and destroy. So at this point, I'm like this, like a fiend, like a junkie, just looking high and low. It's not the drugs, because I started drugs when I was 16 years old. So if I was gonna be paranoid, shaking, pissing on myself for running out my clothes, I would have did that at 16. And so the whole time while they're attacking me, I'm thinking that this is punishment from the Lord. This is discipline from the Lord, but not knowing that they was persecuting me for no reason on my own, for no sin on my own, that it was coming from just me and not but me, merely more mere mortal. And so I'm thinking, I'm fighting it at this point. I'm tossing to and forth. I got a little fear in me, because who wouldn't be scared if you got to fight something that you don't know what you fight, and then you don't know where it's attacking you at. And me thinking, like, if you do right by everybody, ain't no wrong gonna come to you. But wrong, like I said, the Lord said, you don't have to enchant with nobody for them to start with you and start no strife. Whoever you is on the other side of the screen, I can feel your energy. I can feel your demonic satanic energy. I don't care, to argue with nobody, but I'm just saying, all this has been intentional from evil. And I don't have to associate with them. I don't have to see them. They can't talk to me. I'm supposed to be a cop amongst them. I don't know why would they come back on my page and follow me just but to get their feelings hurt. Because on here, I'm gonna confess the testimony of the Lord in my life and share His glory with the whole wide world. I'm gonna testify of Jesus to the whole wide world. So yes, Jesus is real. And if they tell if anybody tell you that Jesus ain't real, then the devil ain't real. And everybody know the devil is real, because you see all the craftiness, you see how innocent, you see all the divination, you see all the divination, you see all the evil and good fighting with each other. So that comes from the devil. And the devil ain't after nobody but the children of God, because guess what? He got resentment for them. He got animosity for them. But this war is not mine. This battle is not mine to fight. The devil have been around for centuries. So if the devil want to fight in war, then the Lord gonna get him. But when He send His children, I'm gonna send His children back to Him. So is that the children on the other side of there watching me with their illusions, casting out illusions? May the Lord destroy you and scatter it. So I'm looking high and low. I'm looking high and low. I'm the laughing stock in the town. Everybody that see it, they like, she on drugs, but really the ones that's working amongst each other with evil, they know what's going on. They laughing at me, about to lose my mind, running out my clothes, thinking it's a joke. I remember seeing all them demons laugh. So now It's time for the Lord to step in and do what he do. And I ain't going to argue with him. I'm going to step to the side and I'm going to let the Lord do what he do. And then we're going to see how funny it is when to embezzle somebody's life, to play with them, to try to kill them, try to take them and get away from their children, to try to extort them on Facebook. It wasn't enough for them to extort my Facebook and put a man picture on there and go on my inbox and hack that and go share my pictures amongst others. That wasn't enough. That would have been too good for them to stop. That was enough. That wasn't enough for them. It wasn't enough. They don't even know the stuff that I had to persevere and go through. I had a predator at 5, so you know what I'm saying. From 5, again at 8, then again at 14. You know what I'm saying. I could have been raped at 5. I was already, they was already trying to groom me, so I could have been raped at 5, coochie bust wide open, got an STD. And then it all throughout life. So 28 years I've been dealing with the devil, wanting to take the promises of God from me, after my mind, after my good habits, after my good character, trying to project insecurity onto me, trying to project depression onto me, trying to bind me up and take the Lord out my heart, in which that's impossible. Because I done known the Lord to be a real all my life. Ever since I had to start dealing with a predator, the Lord had been there for me. So we'll take it as 5 before I even picked up my Bible. He was there before my mother's womb. But for me, actually knowing the Lord was there with me, feeling his presence, feeling watched, feeling safe, not scared of the dark at an early age in elementary. And so the devil was, I didn't graduate and I didn't finish school because I had tactics. I had the flying spirit. I had the prince of the air inside my classrooms at elementary and in middle school. Just shape shifting. Just all you see is this. All you see is the wind in the air. Wind in the air. The teacher in their class and they're teaching it right in front of you, and you like this looking out, being stalked by evil. Trying to take you out as a kid. Folks turning your head, acting like they don't see the people mistreating you, belittling you, talking to you crazy. Evil just fighting against you through adults as you a child. Hey! Cut it out! I don't want to hear it. Now you're the age, you got the TV, you better be sitting down. Then they run around, they try to bribe your children, turn your children against you. All the tactics I've been through. I'm never gonna be apologizing. I'm not gonna be apologizing about what the Lord has done in my life, what I have allowed him to do in my life. Because when the Lord knock at your door, you gotta open up to him and receive him. So why would I be sad about an ex? Why would I be sad about who they let come in their life, who they cheated with me? I bet you they just as miserable as they was when I met them. They was miserable when I met them. They was broken when I met them. But instead of them taking help to be healed and receiving love, they treated me like I was the villain to hurt them. They came already in there insecure, broken, mommy issues, hating women, resenting their parents, and want to project it off on you. Then want to go tell everybody she crazy and it's the drugs, but not hiding not revealing what they done in the darkness. So to the ones that extorts, the Lord said, put away extortion. To the ones with wrath for others, the Lord said, put away the wrath. But the Lord gonna fight and avenge my enemies. The Lord gonna deal with them. I can't gnash my teeth and condemn myself for them bastards. I don't even like them like that. You know what I'm saying? And that whatever they going through, they brought it up on themselves. Ain't no telling how many people they had to done like that before they done to me. And then they were so wicked, they went out there and, brought chaos and drama in my life. I didn't have no drama before I met them women's sons. I didn't have no drama. Didn't nobody know if I was hairy about who I was sleeping with, why I stayed at, why I drive, why I worked at. It was a man to tell them. It was family members and it was men. It probably the family members that ordered the line of the counterfeits But the counterfeits, instead of them coming in after they'd have known me and winning my temple and doing right by me, now they chose to go on with the wicked plots and scheme. And then the one that I left in 2021, he told me, "Oh, I'm glad we got married, but we ain't never been married. That was a fake marriage." So anything that imposter, anything that child of lie when it got in my name, I know he wanted to kill me because he had to got a gun and put it in the house. Yeah, he wanted to kill me. He wanted to kill me. The one I stayed with from 15 to 21 to 20. Yeah, he from 15 to 20. And that's all I'm gonna say. He want all of them wanted to kill me if they got the demon working in them. But that one right there, he had intentions to kill me. And then his little partner, his dad worked at the sheriff. And his little crafty little friend, he had to use this one girl, marry her out the military, and took and reaped her benefits so he can live the lifestyle that he not. So all of them be plotting and scheming. But I know all of them men on that mission together, and that's why the Lord gonna take care of all of them together. They knew what not to do. They knew not to mess with people. You can't go around taking your little frustrations out on people. But these ain't normal people we talking about. This is the heathen amongst the living. These is people that already did and sacrificed themselves. If they cared anything about themselves, they care about others. They after their own belly. So since they wanted to sacrifice people to live a luxurious life, to walk around with gold in a grill and have a place to stay, and then after they don't want to go sit down in prison, they want to go out here and snitch on folks and then run behind their daddy cop. Well, the daddy can lose his job. They can lose their job. They're gonna pay me back every red cent, says the Lord. So they can sit it out. They can turmoil long labor, however they got to do it, and they're gonna learn their lessons. And anybody want to justify wrong for right, then they can step in that hot seat with them. At God's perfect love. Now, y'all have a blessed and productive night. Be aware of Satan and his vices, but you can't be aware if you out here playing with those. So anybody hanging out with them who done that to me, then guess what? You justified wrong for right. So they just won't be going along. That's what the devil do. He wants some company in his misery. He want to bring somebody with. So that's why they had to form groups and get people together and smear hate campaign and act like somebody done them something. The devil is a liar and he don't care who tell it. When I met them folks, they was already evil. But I tried to be nice because the Lord said we don't fight against flesh and blood, So at this point, I'm not evil. I didn't even know they was an enemy of the Lord because I would have never kissed the serpent. I would have never kissed the bastard. I wouldn't have been hungry out. That's just a distraction. It ain't nothing for me to run from or hide from. That's the adversary. They did teach me what I need to, they did help me to get to where I'm at today. Now, a little quicker. But before I met any of their sons, I was already going to be where I'm at today. They just gave me a little boost to get there quicker because instead of me having to go through life trials and tribulations and tactics and persevering through anything else, you know what I'm saying? They went on and helped me to get to the new garment, to the promised land. I was already headed there though. Trust and believe. I just tried to take all them with me. I tried to carry dead weight. I tried to help them out. I tried to be the love in their life because I always known love. That's why when they met me, why they were so intimidated. It ain't me. That's the radiance of God. And that's why they demons were so triggered. Because the devil hate the Lord. And the Lord abhors evil too. But when you become a child of lies, you belong to the fathers. To the father of lies. You don't deserve to be with nobody that's honest. A liar. And ain't nobody gonna tell me I deserve to be in a relationship with him. And that the case, you take your coochie and go be with him. Take your butt, take your mind. Go let somebody gang up with your exes and get online and extort you and expose your picture and then go out there and get law enforcement to do their illegal job. So now your daddy can come down off his job. You and your homeboys can be silly and boyfriends. It don't make me no different. It really don't. The Lord can shame and disgrace you publicly for all I care. Out of sight, out of mind. No, I don't miss them. No, I don't care about them. Stop bringing me up with your little frenzies. You weren't even on my frequency. I lowered my standards to give them a type. To give them a chance. They wasn't even the real deal. That was a veil. That was a facade. That was an illusion. They wasn't nice. They wasn't good people. They wasn't sharing. They weren't caring. That was bribery. That was flattery. That was trying to groom me. They was trying to bind me up and take my soul alive. They had plots and plans. They was plotting on my demise with evil schemes. They was planning my demise and plotting evil schemes. So when I snap, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Who would be? Who wouldn't want to snap? That ain't seeking vengeance when you tell the truth with a little integrity about it and you call them cowards out how they is. Nobody should be offended. Now I to testify to the Lord glory, and I'm gonna continue on because I got a story for every day. If you want to get rational with it, I got more fiery darts to talk about. I got more fiery arrows to talk about. I got more bows to talk about. I got more serpents and scorpions to talk about. I got more demons and devils to talk about. But for the last 13, Satan been sending all this little counterfeits. All this little children of lies. All this little Jezebels. All this little witches and warlocks trying to destroy me. And then when they can't kill me and steal from me, they want to destroy me by trying to get me to go to jail. Huh? 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 That's why they call the police every time I try to leave their house. um, is that why I freaked out about my children? That's why people were saying I'm crazy. That's how I got stuck up with drugs. That's why the DHR lady was telling me I finally got you. All that was a setup. So when you go and dig ditches for people, the Lord said that's your own demise. Oh, destruction to them bastards and them cowards. May the Lord destroy them and scatter all their idols. May the Lord send them a great, great terrible. May his fury be lit. May his candle fire, his fury be lit behind it. Trying to take the word of God out of my heart. The Lord said, don't stop the children from praying. Who am I? A child of God. Don't matter how many, what I do, it is people opinion. The Lord knows my heart. And the Lord knows I didn't go mess with none of them. And they intimidated by the truth. And any child of lies don't like righteous. Any enemy against beauty don't like righteous. But they ain't just against the children of God. They're against all existence of mankind. So any mankind supporting the heathen, you against the Lord. Y'all have a blessed and productive night. If you righteous, innocent, Christ sisters and Christ brother, I love those who love me. Have a blessed and productive night. But before I get off here, let me not forget how I fussed a little bit. Let me tell you, I said forget all of them. They had a part in it. I don't want nothing to do with you. We ain't got nothing to talk about. Miscarriages, trying to take a person's seed out the womb, trying to sacrifice it. And then the Lord bestowed on me that after a person killed my grandma, they had some death in the family too. A person that get dementia don't die because they lose their memory. They can live on without their memory. And some of them, it explains why they weren't at the funeral. In God's perfect love, we'll continue on how I had to look crazy for the cowards. How if I known then what I knew now, they would have been trampled on and treaded on. But now I know they Christian night. They feeling some type of way. Feel some type of way. You shouldn't have sent for me. And they can't hear that because they got a deaf dumb spirit. They supposed to be eating that's not in the house. Now how you mean to tell me the cowards got a place to stay? But the righteous, the needy, the children of God out here homeless, out here dealing with all these tactics. The kingdom belongs to the children of God. So ain't no righteous, pure in heart, soldier from the Lord, servant from the Lord, fear of God, reverence of God should be out here dealing with the heathen. The heathen live outside. Those that you can't tame, they live outside. Those who are in their 40s and still haven't grew up. And the Lord said, ain't nobody bald head but the children of lies. So when you get to see that weak spot right there, you know they're straight from the devil at God's perfect love. Now, I give it to you when you want it. But anyways, and one more, I'm sorry. One more, I repent and I rebuke. Women that go with my exes, that's not your problem. Make it out. You got him. You wanted him. You disrespected me. You was a homewrecker. You was a harlot. You was a whoremonger. You thought you was doing me something and hurting my feelings. And that was just a way for him to manipulate me and try to play on my feelings. He know you ain't me and I ain't you. And if he could spin a block, he'd probably be back. But that's the enemy of mine, baby. So he gonna tell you everything, evil or bad. He ain't gonna tell you nothing good. But if you wanna know Germany's, go ask the Lord. Detest my spirit. Go ask the Lord about me. Don't go ask just men and turn to the left and the right. Don't turn to your neighbor. Don't consult with mediums and witches and warlocks. Go ask the Lord at God's perfect love.